Community philanthropy is a very important mechanism for getting people involved in their communities. Through our work with the Global Fund supporting community foundations globally, we've looked at the importance of community philanthropy in promoting trust at the local community level. So people who give philanthropic resources to the foundation because they trust it, and people who go to it for help because they trust it, and how the community foundation can play a bridging role across different parts of the community, particularly when trust is low. They're also important for accumulating assets, different kinds of resources that exist in a community. So that might be money, it might be voluntary support, it might be people's free time, other non-financial types of assets. And the third most important thing, I think, is around their ability to support the development of communities themselves, so strengthening their capacities or their agency, giving communities voice where sometimes perhaps they don't have that voice. So we work all over the world, and we work with very different institutions, different sizes, different stories, different backgrounds. But we found the things that really do bring them together are around this interest in building assets, building capacities and building trust. That this is how they see their role, is acting as a kind of glue in the community. And so although they may be very different, one might be in India, one might be in Zimbabwe, one might be in Latvia, they come together around this shared agenda. Well, it's interesting. Obviously the Baltics are all small countries, so Latvia doesn't have a big population, and I think the financial crisis means it doesn't have a lot of big businesses at the moment. And I think the old sort of version of community foundations, which is of community foundations accumulating large amounts of money and building big endowment funds, that's changed somewhat in the last few years, and there has been a shift to looking at more local level agencies, so pooling small amounts of money, pooling non-financial resources. And so in that sense, a country like Latvia really does show how this might be done. So if you're measuring these institutions in terms of money, perhaps they're not very big, but if you're measuring them in terms of social capital or trust, then maybe they score much more highly. So I think that the fact that the community foundation movement in Latvia is now 10 years old means there's a really important source of knowledge and learning and experience for other parts of the world to tap into. I'd say the biggest drawback is it's not a word that is not a term that's well understood. Philanthropy is still a difficult word. It's associated with rich people giving charity to poor people, and perhaps it's not seen as a tool for community development. But I think the field globally is starting to emerge and find its voice and describe itself much better and much more clearly. But this is a process that's going to take time, and until that happens, and until development is measured only in terms of money, the danger is that community philanthropy looks small and gets overlooked. I think it will be important. I think communities are under more and more pressure to issues around social cohesion, people moving around countries, immigration, and communities will need institutions that care about the health of the community. A lot of NGOs work around issues, and that's great, but if you're working on water or health or sport, then maybe you can't take an overall look at your community. And I think that's what community foundations do very well, which is to take a holistic view of how the community is functioning.